All right, welcome to the first video on energy management. So this is what we're gonna cover. Our first whole topic in Freedom to Thrive 2017, the program that I'm launching, is energy and self. Self is the foundation for anything you wanna build. A good relationship, you gotta start with yourself. A good business, a productive and thriving business starts with yourself. Particularly if you're an entrepreneur, you are an extension of your business. Rather, your business is an extension of you. So you can't separate the two. If you're skipping the steps to figure out what nourishes you, figure out what makes you feel healthy and vital and whole, you're missing the mark. It's gonna work for a little while. Your relationship or your work might work for a little while, but then after that, it starts to crumble, okay? And it's like a house of cards that you're really building on. It can't last. So today I'm gonna give you guys 3 tools, tips on how to manage your energy. And this is really the whole curriculum for the first month, 2 months of this program called Freedom to Thrive. It's the most important thing I've ever had to learn. I will say self-management over time management, over money management. It's self-management. Nothing else can happen if you don't know your own triggers, your own tendencies, your own energy level. I don't even know how else to put it. It is literally the foundation, okay? So, tip number 1 is, especially if you're feeling stressed out or burned out or, let's be honest, irritated, overwhelmed, confused, stretched thin, tired all the time. I remember it was 2015 when I literally, anyone would call and they'd be like, hey, how are you? Whatever. Tired. I'm so tired. To the point where my brother and my sister were like, we hate you. Like, what are you doing and saying? Either fix it or get out of town. And it was true, because when I started to feel that lethargy set in and that just apathy, which also, by the way, leads to depression, it leads to anxiety, it leads to apathy, it leads to low productivity or no productivity. These are all awful things to feel, and they're fine things to feel too. You just got to know how to work through it. So one way that you work through it is by understanding your own energy. First tip, ask yourself the question, what are you tolerating? I remember when I first heard this question asked, it like blew my world open, because what are you tolerating? What am I tolerating? On any level, business, relationships, family relationships, when I wrote down that first list, I was shocked. There was so much stuff on that list that either wasn't my own or the little irritating things in my life that I was tolerating. The example I give is like, I used to have this, no, that's not my example. That's not my example, but let me give you a real example of what I've been tolerating. Okay, not having a new phone, right? I definitely need to get a new phone because this one is so awful. It misbehaves constantly, but I've been tolerating like less storage. Sometimes it just shuts off. Sometimes my headphones work in it, sometimes they don't. Sometimes it allows me to go to a particular app, sometimes it doesn't. Oftentimes, like, it only works on speakerphone. I can't have a conversation unless it's on speakerphone or unless my headphones are plugged in. Try holding the phone up to you, does not work. I'm tolerating that. That's ridiculous. That's the craziest thing to tolerate, because I need my phone for my business all goddamn day. So it's just crazy. So I'm tolerating that, right? But if you look at the toll that actually takes, literally every time something malfunctions with that phone, the amount of mental and emotional irritation I feel is in it, it's a lot, okay? So knowing that is something that I'm tolerating on that small level, but it eats away at my day. It eats away at my peace of mind. It eats away at my energy level, because every time I have to go and it malfunctions, I have to think about that, okay? But on a greater level, what else have I tolerated in the past? Well, I've tolerated a shitty relationship where I wasn't feeling fulfilled. I've tolerated running my business at lightning speed, so I got burned out. I've tolerated not setting boundaries with my parents so they could say whatever they wanted to me. I've tolerated not speaking up for myself in certain relationships because I felt like I didn't really know what to say. I've tolerated just mediocre things in my life or business because I haven't known like what the next step is. So just what are you tolerating? The second you make this list and notice all the things that are attacks on your brain and your mind and your heart, quite honestly, in your body, because it takes a physical toll, that is when you have to start, that is when you realize how you have to start letting go of things. You either have to like nix certain things off your plate, delegate or organize or just delete stuff off your plate. I remember I just straight up deleted like a couple tasks. I was like, I'm just not worrying about this. Oh, I need to go to the tailor to do this? Nope, it's just not happening. Forget this piece of clothing. Like, it's fine to do that if you're okay doing that, okay? I'm not saying nix everything, but there's certain things that like you don't need to take up space in your mind. Look at this list of what are you tolerating, and then I want you to write down, because I'm not just gonna leave you hanging, how will I let go of these tolerations? So one action step. You don't need 100, you don't even need 2, you just need one action step next to each toleration for how you're gonna start letting go of it. And I want you to star the tolerations that are like weighing the most heavily on you. Mine would be my phone right now. So star that. And you're gonna come away with like 4 or 5 starred ones. Those are the ones that obviously then you should prioritize and put an action step next to it, okay? Number 2, say no. Say no. I recently said no to a lot of things by canceling a bucket load, I was gonna say something else, of stuff in my calendar. I literally was feeling overwhelmed and I looked at my calendar and I was like, oh, this trip, right after this trip, then 2 weeks later this trip, then 3 days later this trip, canceled. I just canceled one after the other after the other. I had to say no to X, Y, and Z because it was getting to be too much for me. Lots of time, I have a big family circle in Detroit especially. So it's like constant invites, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes you gotta say no. There are great times where I wanna spend time with my family and friends and be very present. And then there are other times where I gotta look bad. I'm gonna look bad, and I have to be okay with it. And I'm gonna get some disapproval, or people are gonna perceive me a certain way. And I just have to be okay with that. Like, I just have to be okay with that. But why am I okay with that? Because that's saying no, and I really want you to hear this. Look me in the eye. I'm looking you in the eye. When you say no, what happens is space. What happens is freedom. And here's how I want you to think about it. You're not saying no just to this person or to this small thing. What you're actually doing is saying yes to the thing that you really want. So if you don't know what you really want right now, it's going to be very hard for you to say no. If your dream or your passion project or whatever it is that your goal that you really want to pursue right now, if that's not clear, you're going to be saying yes left, right, and center and feeling constantly drained. You got to get clear on your why. What are you actually wanting to spend time on? Once you are clear on that, the only thing I want to do right now is focus on my program and have fun. And get like my energy up. If something isn't like contributing to that or nourishing me, it's going to be a no, at least for the next month. It's just going to be a no. And I actually, saying that to myself right now is reminding me to do it because there's a couple more things I need to say no to. Get clear on your yes. Get clear on that yes, and then it will be easier for you to say no. And then say it. It's going to be hard to say it. Just say it. And then you will still survive. And more than that, you will feel relieved and freedom. And then you can make it back up to that person when you have presence of mind. Okay? Okay, last tip, third tip is consistent self-care. I am awful at this. It has taken a decade of training, okay? And I'm much better now. But I used to need to go to rock bottom. And still, like even last year, I needed to go to rock bottom with my energy. I needed to have health issues. I needed my family situations to get totally jacked up. I needed my business to basically stop in order for me to put into practice my self-care, my self-love, my proper yoga, energy management, whatever. These things are important. And not just when you're at rock bottom. So the tool here is, what can you consistently do for yourself? Even if that's one thing, even if that's like figuring out your morning routine or journaling every day or going out for a walk for half an hour every day. What is the thing that you can be consistent with in your self-care? And write it down today so that you're not just running on fumes until you hit rock bottom. Learn from me. I am an idiot sometimes, right? Like it's taken me, I shouldn't say that. I should say it's taken me a lot of training and a lot of mishap and a lot of falling on my face to figure out what works for me. That makes me a really awesome student of life. I feel really aware of myself and my life now, which makes me understand what systems I need to put in place, what self-care I need to put in place. But oftentimes I've needed the baseball bat across the head. Please learn from me if you can. You might need the baseball bat too, and you just might need to learn that way. I don't know. But the point is, if you can be consistent about your self-care, even when stuff is hitting the fan, even if you're busy, even if you have relationship drama, if you can do that, all of your other things will be more, you'll be able to figure them out faster and better. Okay? So consistent self-care. So first tip, what are you tolerating? And how will you let go of those tolerations? Number 2, say no, cancel a world of stuff in your calendar if need be. Number 3, what can you consistently do every day to maintain your self-care, even if it's small? Okay? Now, these are the tips I'm giving you here. This is like expanded on like 10 times more in Freedom to Thrive. The whole reason I'm doing this video is to show you the stuff that I've learned that's important and the stuff that I'm going to teach you in this program and other people are going to teach you in this program. So I'm going to link Freedom to Thrive below. Here's the curriculum that we do for energy management and self in Freedom to Thrive. There's energy management and boundary setting. Let me just give it to you while I'm here. Self-management and how to manage yourself. Effective time management, which is also self-management. Core confidence and self-love. From here, people, from here. Living with desire, pleasure, and ease. How to have stuff flow and not force. I've been the queen of force, and now I'm not. I'm the queen of ease. Now, boundaries and knowing what you need, and going through transition, trauma, and uncertainty. Those are all things that we teach in the program. They're hugely important. What one of us doesn't want to know how to do any of that? I want to know how to do all of that. I wish I knew how to do all of that 10 years ago. So I'm going to link this page in this YouTube video. I'm going to link it in the post that you're reading now. And either apply there, the application is right there, or email me to talk one-on-one. But most importantly, implement these energy tools right now. Like implement them today. You'll get a lot of freedom. You'll get a lot of relief from them. And I don't want anything more than that in a given day. Okay? I love you. Thanks for listening. Bye.